The first year of Switch has been a magical set of 12 months filled with amazing games and stellar moments, but there still were some disappointments along the way, and that's why today we're counting down the 7 disappointments of the first year of Switch. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switch Force. Gabe is here, and before we get started, let's talk about the good things of Switch. They're all on this shirt. Our first year edition, limited edition hoodies and tees are available now. Link in the description below. It covers 12 games that really defined this first year of Switch. We love them. So far, you've been loving them. And every person that buys one is entered to win a one-of-a-kind custom Switch Joy-Con backplate combo set that will be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Nintendo Switch. So if you're interested, check those out in the description down below.
Zach, it's been a heck of a year, hasn't it?
It's been a really, really great year. And it sort of pains me to make this list, but I do feel that there are 7 things that were a little bit of a letdown in the last 12 months.
All right, why don't you get us started here with the first one?
Number 7 is going to be the fact that the Switch didn't really and hasn't really elevated or evolved Amiibo. I think I just expected there to be more done with them given the new platform and the new chance to reinvent what they stood for in a gameplay perspective. I love Amiibo. I have every single one. I think they're fantastic. The Switch has the built-in ability to read them, so I figured there would be more involvement or maybe even a dedicated game. And yet it seems like Amiibo are kind of dwindling. We didn't get any for ARMS, which was surprising. We don't have any lined up for Kirby Star Allies. We do have some for Marine and Pearl. Praise Nintendo. But it really has stayed the same from last generation to this generation.
I can't pretend to like Amiibo as much as you do. They're cool little figures, but I don't collect them. You have every single Amiibo. I'm not about that life. So this one doesn't pain me as much, but the one thing that you did touch on that I thought would have been cool was like their own game. And maybe, because there's like currently almost no new integration. Like, you still like put them on a Joy-Con and you unlock certain things in games, but beyond that, they haven't done anything. And that's unfortunate because I know a lot of people do still really like them.
And I think E3 will be very telling if we get a lineup of Amiibo. I mean, we still got them for Mario Odyssey and for Breath of the Wild, but does this fall's, killer apps get their own Amiibo set? If Pokemon does release, does it get a whole bunch of Amiibo? If Metroid, it'll be interesting to see how they plan to go forward with that, because I feel like it's diminishing returns as we move throughout the years. Something else that had diminishing returns is our number 6 disappointment, which is that ARMS didn't gain as much of a major mainstream audience as would have liked. The game sold pretty darn well. I think by all accounts it was a success as a new IP, but for how much they invested in DLC and how fun we personally at Switch Force felt the game was, I think we hoped it would have caught on a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, there was a clear barometer that we would have liked to see this meet. Splatoon on Wii U, which is a failed console. Why couldn't ARMS have the same resonance on a console that's thriving? Something about the package just wasn't enticing to people. There was complaints about lack of content. There was just a serious concern with fun, right? Like some of the game modes weren't fun. They started now doing those things where like, hey, it's this character against this character for the weekend. I think it's a little bit too late. They've stopped supporting the DLC, the game with DLC, unfortunately. So I think Nintendo's kind of like moving on from ARMS. I don't think it's a loss for them necessarily. Again, it's sold well enough that it's still a win. It's just, I don't even know if we see ARMS again, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sad about that fact. I do think it makes an appearance in whatever upcoming iteration of Smash hits Switch. I think Amiibo would have been a great way to buoy that franchise more into the market space. But there still is a very hardcore community. We don't ignore that fact. But it is a tough one to crack if, say, you were to buy ARMS today. I still think the game is super fun locally and with your friends. I recommend it wholeheartedly in that fashion. But just wish it would have gained a little bit more of a mainstream hold. Now, number 5 is one I think everyone can agree on, and that is that from the get-go, accessories have been expensive for Switch. You got the Pro Controller at $70, you got the Joy-Con set at $80, you've got the dock at $90. This is an expensive set of plastic to add to your initial $300 Switch purchase.
Yeah, that is, of course, if you want the Nintendo officially branded and licensed things, right? Because you can get cheaper docks for like $25. You can get not necessarily a pro controller level, but you can get other game pads for like $25. The Joy-Con are going to be what the Joy-Con are. We do see sales every once in a while, but the price of accessories are a little bit egregious. If other companies can make a dock for like $25, I don't know why they need to charge so much for the Nintendo one. I wish they didn't.
Yeah.
So,
and yeah, an extra dock is not necessary. In a lot of ways, Joy-Con Pro Controllers are necessary for multiplayer and things of that sort. The saving grace here is the Pro Controller is a phenomenal controller. I think it has won everybody over. And I even really like the Joy-Con. Set aside the fact that I collect them like a crazy person, have a double digits sets of them. They're really cool. I have grown very accustomed to them. I like them a lot. And they're going to prove even more of their worth with the upcoming Labo. But it would be nice if they were a teensy bit cheaper.
agreed.
Now, number 4 is an interesting one, and we're calling it Mario Hates DLC. And that's because there is no Mario Kart 8 DLC. As of right now, there is no solid and significant Super Mario Odyssey DLC. There was the recent free Balloon World update, but it's not New Kingdoms. It's not an expansion pack in the same way that Breath of the Wild saw its DLC. And then the Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle DLC, the main story pack, was pushed out of year 1 into year 2. So I think it's just kind of a bummer that Nintendo's biggest mascot is missing out on something Nintendo has done so well in other Switch games.
Yeah, this one I don't... Look, the Donkey Kong DLC for Mario plus Rabbids, it's still coming. Like, yeah,
Right.
it got pushed back, but I'm frankly okay with it. I don't understand why there was nothing for Mario Kart, because it did so well. You probably want to make some extra money there by selling certain things, and it just didn't happen. We see Pokken recently get the DLC, and by all means, Pokken didn't do really well. There was that list release of the top 10 games that sold for year 1. Pokken wasn't on it at all. So...
Right.
I'm sorry.
And maybe that's actually the reason. Maybe the fact that Mario Kart does so well, they feel like they don't have to do anything, whereas they need to prop up these other titles. But I'm still hopeful that Mario Odyssey receives DLC in year 2. I think that is something that could get announced at an upcoming Direct or even E3, some sort of Kingdom Pack. If you look, Breath of the Wild didn't see its full-on expansion until 9 months later, and then it was a surprise drop. So you think about 9 months after Mario, we're looking at June, July. Maybe there is something announced and even unleashed at E3.
We'll see.
In the meantime, though, another absence is our number 3 disappointment, and that is themes, apps, voice chat, and better eShop UI. I really felt like 3DS has themes and they're advertised weekly. I really thought we'd get more customization for the Switch, and I thought we would also get more apps. Once Hulu appeared, I felt like the rest were soon to follow, and they just haven't yet. And yes, a lot of this is probably tied to the fact that Nintendo's paid online service is releasing September 2018, and that's where the voice chat will come in, and that's where more apps, in theory, will come in, and hopefully themes as well. But it would have been great to see like an eShop redesign, especially given the hundreds of titles that are there, easier search, easier organization, easier way to bring things that are of quality and appealing to the top. But we just didn't get any of it this year.
Themes and eShop revamp, that's what I want the most. As far as like Netflix and voice chat, honestly, I don't care about those things. But eShop rehaul, definitely discovery needs to be fixed. Like there needs to be a way to find cool games other than specifically searching for them if they're not in the top sellers. Beyond that, themes, man, I don't like the black and white like themes. Like not anymore. Like it looks so boring. I want something cool.
It's such a good way to integrate and advertise your properties, right? They do it so well on the 3DS. Even for Pokemon Day, they had a bunch of Pokemon themes, and I don't know if they were brand new or if they were just discounted, but regardless, super cool to tie that into the launch of Kirby Star Allies, tie that into the launch of Bayonetta 1+2. Like, why not? It seems like it'd be a very simple fix, and because you're taking the Switch on the go, I feel like it's just an even better way to distinguish and differentiate your Switch outside of buying another overpriced set of Joy-Con.
Yeah.
That brings us to the top 2, and I think these are probably the top 2 complaints or disappointments across the board. Now, number 2 can be explained away, but it still is disappointing, and that's that we're still waiting on serious third-party support. We did see FIFA 18, we did see NBA 2K18, we did get Doom, and we did get Skyrim, but there's still so much missing, and as of right now, we don't know if it's happening. We like to believe it is. People say stuff takes time, and partnerships take a while, and development is difficult, but it hasn't materialized yet, and I think that given the success of the Switch And given how aggressively they touted third party at the beginning, I would have expected and I would have liked a little bit more in this department.
Yeah, I mean, there's still things to look forward to. We have Wolfenstein, we have Dark Souls, and probably a number of things still in the pipeline. There was that rumor about Call of Duty. I don't know how much validity there is to that, but if Call of Duty happens this year on Switch, I think that's a big one as well. Like you said, it can be explained away with, hey, they're not ready yet. Maybe by E3 we get some announcements. I'm hoping we do. I think we do.
I think that has to be the hope. And I will give a special shout out to the Lego games for being one of the biggest supporters of Switch in the third party arena. Like day and date with Marvel Superheroes 2, that was fantastic. And they did a really good job. I want to see more of that, more day and date multi-platform release. I think that's huge. And right now we're in this period where people are like bothered by indies, and I'm not, because there's so many great ones. Celeste, Faye, the upcoming War Groove, and Hollow Knight, things of that sort. We love SteamWorld Dig 2 and Enter the Gungeon, but that is taking up so much of the space. Some third-party editions in there, I think, would really calm some of those concerns. And I'm sad that it didn't get as much. Third parties weren't involved as much as I would have liked in year one, but hopefully they would be in year two. That brings us to our number one disappointment for the first year of Switch, and that is no Virtual Console. I really did not think we'd be sitting here on the week of the 1 year anniversary with nada in the classic games department, nada in the Nintendo nostalgia, and nada of Virtual Console.
Nintendo knows that this is a complaint, right? Like, they get constant tweets. I just see, like, they'll tweet something about Pokemon Day. They'll be like, hey, this is cool, but what about Virtual Console? They're aware. You have to imagine that's coming in some form, right? The online service that you mentioned is coming, later in the year. That has to tie into it a little bit, just because we were already promised older releases with that. So I don't know if they just completely just intrinsically make them the same thing, or if they keep them separate and Virtual Console's just still coming. I don't know what they're going to do.
I'm concerned that will just build this fire even more, because if that online service launches and there is no Virtual Console, instead there is this classic games library that has a couple of NES games with included leaderboards and online multiplayer, I think that stokes this fervor even further. I think people then are like, wait, we were waiting for that. We thought you'd deliver and you didn't. I firmly believe that they will be announcing Virtual Console in some capacity at E3 this year. I don't know why they chose to wait, or what the holdup was, or the business strategy behind. But I think they know, and it's such an easy addition to not only enhance their system, but provide a way to fill out release windows and make a bunch of money. Right? It's a quick, easy way for Nintendo to continue to fill their pockets like they're already doing. So why not double down on that? The inclusion of GameCube games would be absolutely magical. Getting to see and play stuff like Luigi's Mansion, Super Mario Sunshine, Mario Strikers on the Switch would be magical. Even things from the Super Nintendo era and the N64 era would be awesome. It's crazy to me that this console is a year old and we don't have it, because it's something that's been a part of what? Handheld and console the last generations, right?
Yeah.
Multiple generations back, and yet the Switch, it's confounding, it's confusing, and that's why it takes the number one spot of disappointments. Don't get us wrong, it was a phenomenal year. So many good things. We have talked ad nauseum about all the awesome games, all the awesome indies, all the ways in which the Switch has made our lives better and created such an amazing resurgence for Nintendo. But from top to bottom, the fact that they haven't really elevated or evolved Amiibo, ARMS not getting a major audience, accessories being pretty expensive, Mario not getting a whole lot of DLC love, the absence of themes, apps, voice chat, and a better eShop UI, still waiting on true third-party support, and then no Virtual Console. That's our list. Let us know what your biggest disappointment for the Switch first year was in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Check out the shirts if you want. Link in the description. Discord is now up. We've got over 1,000 people there, all hanging out, sharing friend codes, enjoying some Switch Force talk and some Switch fun and games. You might just make a new friend. And what is more fun than that? Until the next time, everybody, thanks so much for watching. A fantastic day. For myself and Gabe, Switch Force out.